Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That your
You
interview
too.
was so lovely
It
and
was,
really
yeah.
thoughtful questions. So thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. I love what I've seen from the show, and I think you guys are both awesome in it. So, my first question for you guys is going from season one to season two, now that the groundwork has been laid down, now that you've established a lot, the characters are finally getting, hitting the ground running a lot more than they did in season one. So I'm curious, with that mindset, with the bigger scope, with the bigger stakes, what was it like to go into season two?
It's funny because I feel like there's quite a bit of distance from the beginning, when we went back to season two. And my memory of it is we launched season one and we did this global press tour. I think I can speak for everyone when I say, like, none of us had really sort of been part of something like this, had done anything like that to really take this out to the world, with all of the curiosity that surrounded it. And then we went right into the beginning of season two. So it was, I think there was something interesting about sort of, sharing it after all of this sort of mystery surrounding it, and then going right into production and changing locations, moving to the UK, starting there, adding a lot of new people to our crew, to our cast, but having a better and deeper sense of our characters. And I would even arguably say ourselves. I mean, as each year passes, you hope you learn and grow a little bit more within yourself and trying to bring some of that to your work. And so I feel like there was at least that sense of, we're not introducing at this stage. We now get to sort of get right on into where we've left off with these characters. And we have this sort of trust within our own cast because we've spent, as you can imagine, a lot of time together. Beautiful time together. So yeah.
Yep, that's awesome. Markella, I actually have a question for you specifically. Your character is original to the series, created specifically for this. So I'm curious for you as an actress, being able to define this character for audiences worldwide and for future adaptations. What's that like for you, like being the first to handle this character and understand her fully?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a privilege to be a part of this universe and to be a part of Tolkien's in just such a in some way. And so I think that to do this is such an honor. And also I feel like for me, with any character that I portray, I really try not to think too much about what it means in a larger sense. I just really focus on who the character is, and what their circumstances are and what they're going through. So I think it's always such a lovely surprise when you hear that people are either resonating with the character in some way, but the focus definitely is on just telling as truthful a story as possible and making sure that that I am finding a way in so that people can connect to her.
I love the way you put that. And going into like the way you say like people can connect with her. I'm curious for both of you, is there a trait or a quality from either of your characters that you feel very personally connected to that maybe would have drawn you to the script originally, or that you just were really excited to portray in season two?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think what I enjoy when I get the chance is if you get to portray a character that is in many ways braver than you are, but you also sort of aspire to sort of in that moment make the same choice. I thankfully am not faced with the same challenges that Miriel is faced with, but I think that we all have those moments in our real lives where, we're presented with a choice and we understand that there are repercussions for those choices, and you're just trying to make the best decision in the moment. And so I think, the timing of me getting to sort of be part of this project and play Miriel specifically, I started at the end of 2020. I started at a completely different time in the world. I thought a lot about, my small part in this large, ever-changing world. And so it resonated with me. And I think with this story in general, and even just sort of watching the finale, there's so many things that speak to me specifically, not just about the character, but the whole sort of story. So I hope and aspire to be as brave as Miriel, and maybe occasionally I am.
She is. She is. No, it's funny that when you said that, because I really did think there's so many traits that I admire about like Midiel and watching, but also about Cynthia anyway. So to be able to hear, no, genuinely, really, truly, she's
I'll give you that. I'll give you that $20 later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. She's a leader and she leads with kindness and genuinely is kind of a very calm amongst the storm sometimes with questions and everything that can come up. So I just think that it makes so much sense that she's playing a queen. So I just want to just say that. And then in terms of Nori, and what I really admire about Nori is I think similar. I think that her bravery and her real courage to speak what's on her mind, despite the consequences, for better or for worse. So I really admire that, and I hope that and her protectiveness over her loved ones. I really want to.
Which is also Markella, by the way. I mean, if we're going to be doing that.
No.
That is the truth. That is the truth. This one has her head on straight. So yes, love best. Thank you.
I'm sorry, just like being like a fly on the wall for that. That was just an incredible interaction. I love how much you guys love each other. That was just so wholesome. I'm really curious, being on set for this. It's like it's a very ambitious show. I believe it's like one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive show made. And like you mentioned, like changing locations for filming. And just the production aspects of it are incredible. I'm curious for both of you, was there a scene that when you filmed that you might not have fully understood the vision? Maybe you're like, okay, I think I kind of get this. But when you saw it like on the big screen or the final version, you're like, okay, I see the vision now. This is like incredible. Is there anything that stuck out to you like that?
I mean, I think you see the scale of it. Charles Edwards said this last night. You see the scale of it every time you go onto the set because you see so many people working so hard, and there's so many people in VFX, so many people in scale. Just everyone is putting their everything into it. But I do think there are scenes like the storm, the sandstorm that you see with the stranger and Poppy Nori super early on. That was not what it looked like. They did the best they could to make it as real and believable as possible, and we did shoot some of it on location. But when I saw it on screen and how much the VFX adds to it as well and how much goes into post, that's when I feel the scale of it, because you just can't even imagine what that might look like until you see it in the final cut. So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, I also think a lot about when we read these scripts, it was so long ago to have read something and maybe it's not your part of the world and you're sort of really hyper-focused on your own piece. But when I watched the last 2 episodes, my jaw was on the floor because I thought just visually to take what was on the page and everybody collaborating and collectively sort of giving it their all, it took my breath away just to see, we talk a lot about the scale, but this truly was a wow. I mean, I really had multiple moments of, I can't believe I'm on this. I can't believe I'm part of this. Yeah. And was just really an admiration for everybody else's efforts and work, especially, we're 2 people representing our entire cast and crew, everybody that works on this. So I think to tell this story, we have to tell it at this scale. We can't do the small version of this. It wouldn't be the same. It has to sort of be at this level, and it really is, awe-inspiring.
That's incredible. I love hearing both of your answers for that. And I have one last question for both of you. So this is a bit of a fun one. I'm from Toronto, and every year we have our little Comic-Con thing called Fan Expo. And this year they had a booth promoting the Rings of Power where fans could actually make their own Rings of Power, like with epoxy resin, like dye. So I'm curious for each of you, if you could make your own Ring of Power, what would it look like? What colors? What kind of gem?
What colors? I like that we're talking aesthetics because we've got
the like, what would tempt you to take the Ring of Power? I feel like it would. What would yours be like?
No, I'd probably still keep it tasteful, not too ostentatious.
Yeah.
And I actually think I have, because we had like a 3D printed sort of ring station at one of the events. So I took 3.
Oh my God.
So I have them on my bookshelf next to our Tolkien collection of books.
Amazing.
But yeah, I'd probably keep it I'd keep it tasteful. Like keep it classy and tasteful, of course.
I'd want a big. I'm kidding. No. I think I'd want something quite simple, quite like that you can't tell that it holds a lot of power.
Oh yeah.
So you can deceive people quite easily because you're like, this is this old thing. Maybe a little ruby.
Oh, cute.
I don't
I
know.
like the subtlety. I like the subtlety in that one. That's cool.
Yeah, just
All right, so they give me the wrap, but I want to say again, thank you for this incredible conversation. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I just loved being a fly on the wall for that interaction again. That's the most wholesome thing I've ever seen in an interview. So I just
it's
want
really genuine. I mean,
Oh,
I
wow.
really do love this.
We
no,
love
it was,
We do.
so wholesome. I just want to say thank you for that again so much. I hope the rest of your day goes well. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That your
You
interview
too.
was so lovely and
was,
really
yeah.
thoughtful questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you. That's so kind of you. Really, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You. Have a
Have
great
a good
day.
one.